Okay, Mr. Mayor, I think we are ready. Oh,
So, and the term authority is for the Americans who are leader residents and asked to attend what the council, what we've done in the past. Suspended rules, relaxed rules, is that something that we can do? It was pretty brief, but as far as what I understood, there was the letter is not helpful. Okay.
Or you guys could table it, agenda item, and then have him be able to correspond with us so that we can incorporate it in the policy.
It sounds like it does.
That's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Action, Mayor. So you can do it at that exact same time.
Okay.
So I will just put it here and then put your spread resolution for item 8 to the office.
Okay. I call to order City Council regular meeting for July 15th at 10 minutes after 7. All stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Shen?
Here.
Mr. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. McAlto?
Here.
Mr. Pinkush?
Here.
Mr. Denmark?
Here.
Mr. Mayor?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Do we have any citizens' comments on any agenda item except those items scheduled for public hearing?
I'm sorry. First, the people who've signed in. So the first one up is Miss Marie Wagner. Thank you for your understanding.
Good evening. My name is Marie Wagner, and I'm the Executive Director of the Chugach Arts Council. And I just wanted to introduce an opportunity for Whittier to be included in the next cycle of water testing and monitoring of our beaches for bacterial contamination. As you may have heard, 2/3 of the beaches in the U.S. have been closed last year due to fecal contamination. Whittier's essence revolves around the sea in many aspects, and with increasing commercial, industrial, and recreational use, it would be helpful to know what condition our beaches are in, and how would we know that unless there's testing done? So Alaska's Beach Monitoring Program is a partnership between Alaska DEC, and community members. And the next 2-year cycle opens in 2027. So that's a ways off, but there's a great deal of preparation prior to submitting our application to be included. Communities all across Alaska have participated: Kenai, Ketchikan, Nome, Petersburg, many, many cities, but never Whittier. And so there's a great deal of interest in including Whittier. So I think if we submit a proposal, we would have a good chance of being selected. So at this point, I'm just reaching out to see who might be interested in this project. There is a lot of advanced preparation required for the proposal submission. And of course, the actual sample taking and transportation to the lab in Anchorage. So I'm hoping to include the city, chamber members, industry members, and any community members. So the state's going to be the state contact is very helpful, and she'll walk us through all the, details and how to do all this. The first thing I think, first to find out who's interested in participating, identify the beaches and the land ownership and any permissions necessary. There need to be collectors to collect at the different beaches, and then those samples need to get to Anchorage within 6 hours of collection. So it's got to be a well-coordinated thing. And then the ongoing reporting requirements throughout the 2-year period. This is a very brief overview, but it's not too early to get started in the process. If you want to learn more, and there's a lot to learn, go to dec.alaska.gov under the Water tab, and then select Water Quality, and then the Beach Program, or I can send you the link. And my phone number is area code 623-703-4453, or info@chugachartscouncil.org. Thanks.
Thank you, Marie.
Next on the list is Miss Lori Borg.
Microphone.
There you go.
Better? My name's Lori Borg, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk tonight. I'm here to express my full support for Jamie, who is running for City Council. Before I go any further, I'd like to share a little of my recent experience. I had an opportunity to talk to few council members about my interest in running for a seat. After giving it careful thought, I decided to step back from the race, not because I lost interest, but because I saw something important. Whittier already has a strong candidate in Jamie. In fact, during one conversation, Councilmember Denmark told me candidly that if Jamie chose to run, he'd have a hard time not voting for her. I took that not as a discouragement, but as a compliment to Jamie and the kind of leadership we both value. I made my decision clear. The best way to support Whittier right now is to support Jamie. Jamie's dedication is undeniable. She currently serves on Parks and Rec, the Harbor Board, and the Planning Zoning Committee. She volunteers her time, stays engaged, and brings thoughtful, balanced leadership to every space she's in. She listens, shows up, and she does the work quietly and consistently. There are 2 other candidates in the race, and while I appreciate anyone who's willing to step up, I'll say this: if I were voting, I'd want more than theatrics or a list of past accomplishments. I'd want someone who was actively involved, grounded in service, and focused on the solutions. Jamie is that person. I believe that being involved in our city any way you can should be a part of everyone's life, whether it's joining a board, attending a meeting, lending a hand. It matters. Jamie sets the example, and I'm proud to support her. Tonight isn't just about filling a seat. It's about revealing the true direction this council intends to take our city. Thank you.
The next on the list is Miss Jamie Lone.
Hi, good evening, Council. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice again. I trust that you all read my application, and I won't harp on anything else except to say that I really do care about this community, and if you give me a chance to serve with you, I promise that I will put all of my energy behind the council, just like I do in town. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor, no one else has signed in.
Are there any members in the audience? Jason?
If you could do me a favor, when you get to the podium, just announce your full name, so for the record.
Hello, thank you, council members. I am Jason Zentz. Came here tonight to talk. I guess there was a issue that I had with the online letter of interest application for the council position, the open seat. I did fill it out, and I could have swore I saw a successful submission to it, but I don't remember getting any type of confirmation email or anything like that. Just wanted to say, not sure if it's allowed or possible, but I am interested also in the open seat. And just a little quick background, I guess I've been a resident of Whittier for 25 years-ish, right around there. And I've been kind of a loner hermit. I've known most of the people here for many years, but I'm just looking to give back to the community and get more involved in the community, so.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, so seeing no more comments, I'd like to ask council if we could make a couple of changes to tonight's agenda. A motion to move item 10, appointment to fill vacant seat, council, to just immediately following conflict of interest disclosures.
Second. You need a second? Yeah.
Okay. And I'd like to add the following items to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, could we vote on
Just
that
the first
amendment and then
Okay.
move to the next one? Thank you so much. Voting, one moment while I catch up. Okay, so the motion is to amend the agenda by moving item 10 to directly after conflict of interest. Mr. Denmark.
Yes.
Mr. Shen.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. McAlto.
Yes.
Mr. Pinkush.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and the agenda is amended.
Okay, and I'd like to ask council for a motion to add the following items to the consent agenda. They're items 5, 6, 7, and 11. Introduction of ordinances 2025-003, Resolution 2025-025, Resolution 2025-026, and a request to reschedule September regular meeting to September 23rd. You have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I don't want resolution 2025-026 in consent agenda, item 7.
Okay,
And I guess I would want to know specifically why we're moving the number 11, why we're moving the meeting to September 23rd.
okay.
Is it,
So
we discussed that
can we,
years ago about council plans ahead to be able to be these meetings, and then it gets moved for administration convenience, and then it messes with our schedules.
okay. So can I modify the first motion? In the place into the consent agenda, the ordinance 2025-003 and resolution 2025-025, the asphalt paving. Okay. I have that motion.
So moved.
Okay. I think I might have made it. He could be the second, whatever.
Second. I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion, hearing none.
Voting on the motion to amend the agenda by adding items 5 and 6 to the consent agenda. Mr. Denmark,
Yes.
Mr. Pinkush,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and the agenda and consent agenda are amended.
I have one last amendment, and that is to move item 8 to the August meeting. I have a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Seeing no discussion?
Voting on the motion to amend the agenda by postponing item number 8 to the August meeting. Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Pinkush,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Mr. Denmark,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and the agenda is amended.
Okay. So,
Now to vote on the agenda as amended.
okay, let's do that.
Okay, excellent. Voting on the motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda as amended. Actually, you did not have a motion to approve the agenda.
Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Voting now on the motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda as amended. Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. Pinkush,
Yes.
Mr. Denmark,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and the agenda and consent agenda are approved as amended. On tonight's consent agenda are the approval of the June 17, 2025 regular meeting minutes, the introduction of ordinance 2025-003, and setting for public hearing at the August 19th, 2025 regular meeting, and resolution 2025-025, a resolution approving a contract with Quality Asphalt Paving, QAP, to construct mile 2.0 to 3.0 of Shotgun Cove Road and appropriating funds.
Moving on. There's a conflict of interest clause. Does anybody wish to declare a conflict of interest? And then moving on to the appointment to fill vacant council seat C until October 7th, regular meeting. At this time, we will consider the appointment to fill council seat C, which is currently vacant. The person appointed tonight will serve until October 7th, regular election, until a successor is elected and qualified. The council received letters of interest from 3 applicants. Those letters were included in your packet. Tonight's appointment will follow the process outlined in Whittier Municipal Code.
I'm really bad at throwing pins at everybody, sorry.
So we've heard from one of the applicants. Are there any objections from council to hear from if there's the other applicants are present, to hear from them? I mean, is Mr. Brazelton here? And Robin
Baker? Okay. Mr. Brazelton, do you have something to say? If so, come to the podium, please. Well, I guess I need to ask council. So is that okay? Okay. So do you have anything to say, sir? Thank you. Does council have any questions for the appointments before voting? Each council member will vote for one candidate on a written ballot. A candidate must receive at least 4 votes to be appointed. If no one receives a majority of these, there is a tie between the top vote getters. We will conduct a second round of voting. If the second round also results in a tie, the top candidates, the appointment will be decided by coin toss as required by city code. Right. So it's time to vote.
Jamie Lone. Jamie Lone. Brazelton. Baker. Lone. And Jamie Lone.
Thank you. So the tally is 4 for Jamie Lone, 1 for Richard Brazelton, and 1 for Robin Baker. Congratulations to Jamie Lone, who has received a majority of the vote and is hereby appointed to council seat C. Would you come up? Administer the oath. Also, okay. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Jamie Lone, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the constitutions
that I will support and defend the constitutions
of the United States and state of Alaska
of the United States and the state of Alaska
and the laws and ordinances of the city of Whittier,
and the laws and ordinances of the city of Whittier,
state of Alaska,
state of Alaska,
and that I will faithfully and honestly
and that I will faithfully and honestly
perform the duties of the office
perform the duties of the office
of Whittier City Council Member.
of Whittier City Council member.
So help me God.
So help me.
Congratulations.
If you'll excuse me, I have to get back to work.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. Okay, welcome aboard, Jamie. I guess, okay. So we're at presentations and reports. We're in the monthly wild recognition.
So I decided to start something new. Every month when we have a council meeting, I'm going to try really hard to recognize one or more of our staff members or departments. This year and this month, I want to recognize our fire department because, as you all know, they feed us really well, but they have done some amazing things in our community, from just the community outreach and the support that they offer. I can't be more proud. So if Chief Cates, Deputy Chief Cooley, and Lieutenant Overmeyer could come up here for a moment. I don't know, I think everybody in this room, one way or another, has been supported by our fire department and we should just be very proud of what they do and what they offer. From just the outreach for kids is huge for me, and to see that. And I mean, if anybody drove by today, you'll see that they were doing a car wash, and we do quite a bit of those. And I'm just really proud to know that we have them as our staffers, but that we have them in our community. So this is just a certificate, but there will be something more coming, and I'll expect you to wear it at the next meeting. So that will just tell you everything. Exemplify the spirit of teamwork, public service that define our city. So thank you, guys. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, moving on to 2024 audit, Altman Rogers and Company.
Thank you. My name is Joe Burgany. I'm the partner from Altman Rogers and Company who's in charge of the City of Whittier's annual audit. I've been working on this audit probably 10 years now. So I'm just going to briefly run through these financial statements and point out some highlights. So we'll just get going. The first part of these financial statements, pages 1 through 4, are the auditor's opinion on the financial statements. This is, what you hire us for, is to provide an opinion on the financial statements that follow. This is what's called an unmodified opinion, meaning that the financial statements that follow we determined are materially correct. So that the opinion units are the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and then the aggregate of the non-major funds. Moving on to the actual financial statements, just some of the highlights. Total governmental activities assets were just over 50 million. Total business type activities, total assets were just over 30 million. And the net position, which is the difference between total assets and total liabilities, for governmental activities were 33.5 million and business activities were 25 million. Onto the fund financials, the general fund had fund balance again, which is the difference between assets and liabilities, had total fund balance of 3.852 million, and the cruise ship tax special revenue fund had total fund balance of 1.4 million. Those were the major funds of the city. And then the non-major funds, which were 3 capital project funds that are aggregated together, they have a total fund balance of $885,000. On the proprietary side, for the business type activities, the small boat harbor has total net position, again, difference between asset and liabilities, of 11.9 million. The DeLong dock has total net position of 3.8 million, and the water and sewer fund has total net position of 9.2 million. We can jump back and just talk here about the major funds. So this is the change. This is the amount of revenue over expenditures. The general fund had expenses higher than revenues of 5,257. The cruise ship tax fund had revenues over expenditures of 110,000, and the non-major funds had revenues over expenditures of $139,000. Same thing for the proprietary funds. The change in net position, the difference between revenues and expenditures. Small Boat Harbor had a negative 392,000. DeLong Dock had a negative 590, and Water and Sewer had a positive 1.5 million. Most of those negatives are coming from depreciation, which is the capital assets that get depreciated over the useful life. So that's not cash losses. Just want to point that out, that depreciation is a big chunk of those expenses that is pushing those numbers to be negative. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that in 2024, the city spent over $750,000 of state and federal money, which meant we had to perform a state and federal single audit. We looked in depth at the Village Safe Water EPA money that was passed through the state of Alaska, Village Safe Water, for the pump. And for the state of Alaska, we looked at the commercial passenger vessel tax, the money you get from the state for cruise ships. So we looked in depth at those, pulled a separate sample of transactions, and looked at reporting and other information that the state and feds want us to look at. Again, we have an unmodified opinion on both of those, meaning that we didn't find any non-compliance in those programs. And just to note, moving forward in 25, there's an increase of the threshold. You guys will probably still be over it, but the threshold for a single audit increases from $750,000 to $1 million for your December 31, 2025 audit. So we talked a little bit about this in the work session, but has anyone got any questions?
No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like we have a micro training coming up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This, barring technical difficulties, this will take less than 3 minutes, but as you probably know, the city received a cybersecurity grant. There were 3 different projects funded through the grant, and one of them was implementing multi-factor authentication, which is a very important, small, but very important piece of cybersecurity attacks, protecting the city against cybersecurity attacks. So this was implemented and began enforcement on July 8th. I think before July 8th, it probably was more complicated to get your MFA set up. But it appears as though our IT, when they implemented the enforcement of multi-factor authentication, they made it easier. So where before you might have had to set up the app, the Microsoft Authenticator app, it appears as though your phone number, just texting your phone number like most websites make you do, will work. So if you have any issues, please let me know, or please contact Constantly on it, and we'll get it worked out. But in the meantime, I wanted to give you a little 2-minute video on registering for the multi-factor authentication. Tab.
Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll explain what security info is and how to register and manage it. Security info is a set of methods that you use to prove who you are when you sign in or reset your password. For example, when you sign in using your username and password, your organization may want you to give additional proof of your identity by sending a text message to your phone with a code. By registering your security info and keeping it up to date, you can ensure that you'll always be able to prove who you are when your organization requires you to do so. Your organization may require you to register your security info when you sign in. During the sign-in process, you'll see a message saying that your organization requires additional information. After you choose Next, you'll see a step-by-step process for registering your security info. The specific security info you're required to register depends on your organization's settings. Follow the step-by-step instructions for registering your security info and choose Next after you complete each step. If your organization allows, you can choose to register a different method by choosing I want to set up a different method. Once you complete registration, you'll be shown the information you just registered. To complete the registration process, choose Done and continue the sign-in process. You can register and manage your security info by choosing the Security Info option in My Account or by going to aka.ms/mysecurityinfo. From here, you can add a new method, if your organization allows you to, by choosing Add Method. You can also change the default method that you use when you sign in by choosing Change here. Depending on your organization's policies, you may be able to change or delete previously registered methods by choosing Change or Delete. For additional information on how to set up your security info, check out aka.ms/securityinfoguide. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for your patience, Council. This will matter because your email is set up through Microsoft 365. So if you try to log into your council email, it might say, oops, you need to set up your multi-factor authentication first. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Shelby. Moving on to city managers. I have no report. City managers report.
I'm going to keep it pretty brief. I just want to give a reminder that tomorrow is one of the first master transportation plan pop-ups. So you will see from the beginning of the morning around from 9 a.m. till probably tomorrow at about 6. There will be 3 different locations that will have a tent popped up with people out there taking surveys, asking people what brought them to Whittier, how they came in. They've been working really closely with the tunnel on getting data from them on the entries. They'll be out at the head of the bay. And then today they also set up counter cameras. So they are put up throughout the town in 6 different locations. So just be aware, we're going to have one tent out here. The largest one will be right down by this, the harbor master's office right next to the auxiliary caboose. And we're going to be doing that today. They'll monitor the tomorrow. They're monitoring the numbers for the next 24 hours to a week on the cameras. And then the goal is mid-September to have a community meeting where we will set it up for here and at the BTI so that we can try to get the input from our largest stakeholder, which is our community members. And then I have to look at Jamie because the great slug out is happening and it's Monday, the 26th. So if anybody of you been at the head of the bay or anywhere else, the black slugs are everywhere. And so this is a great thing that the Parks and Rec Department does. It's the 28th? Monday, the 28th, I'm sorry. And so I hope everybody participates in that. And then I think that's it, Mayor. I think I'm pretty good. Everything else is in our packet. The reason our assistant city manager isn't here right now, she is downstairs finalizing the last little bit for us to hit the submit button on one of our major grants. So she has 10 more minutes.
Okay, well, that brings us to resolutions. I'd ask for a motion for Resolution 2025-026, authorizing reallocation and appropriation of funds in the amount of $250,000 and 210 within the FY 2025 operating budget for contracted services and minor capital improvements.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I do. Give me a second.
Page 20 of the packet, Mr. Pankush.
So I don't know if this is for Dave or for Chris, but the $125,000 or the harbor billing upgrade, two questions. One, was this cost anticipated when the new electronic meters were ordered and we weren't informed? And secondly, is this coming from the repair and replacement fund to fund this?
Councilmember Pincush through the mayor, both good questions. So during the audit, as we just heard the auditor describe, there were some what are called internal control concerns raised by the auditors. To be honest with you, we really weren't at the time of the audit 100% certain what was causing the challenges that the auditors were finding. And when the auditors are here, you have 1 week to be audited, and then they follow up with additional questions that come after. We had the harbor finance officer retired after about 10 years with the city, at the same time that we had our 15-year executive assistant who did a lot of our billing for utilities and leases and accounts receivable. And our taxes, that she was gone for the first time. And then our accounts payable person was out on an planned but kind of emergency situation. So that literally left just me doing the audit for the city with very little ability to answer all the auditor's questions in the span of the short 1 week period. So when the auditors identified concerns in the harbor billing, I literally did not have time to dig down into those issues and figure out what was wrong. But what was clear was that because we have so many disparate programs at the harbor that all feed into one another, that there's too many touch points of varying software that have to be coordinated, and it just opens up a lot of opportunity for errors. So one of the things that we've been talking about for a number of years is getting to a cloud-based solution. And because prior to the idea of the cloud-based solution, everything was just on one person's server desktop in the harbor office itself. So anything that you wanted to do to address harbor-related billing issues had to be on that one computer. So it made it really challenging if you had a problem to have the vendor log in and try to figure out what the issue was, or to have me log in and figure out what the issue was. And it's also kind of become a security issue because some of our older technologies are just outdated and they're being phased out. So just one example is we use QuickBooks in the harbor, and the version of QuickBooks that we've always used is called QuickBooks Desktop, and that is not something that's cloud-based, but it's not being, they're not going to continue to service that over time. So that was completely unexpected, and we didn't know about that in time to factor that into the budget. So that is something, migrating to the cloud with QuickBooks in the cloud is something that we didn't factor into the budget. When we migrate the harbor billing system, we also then will migrate the harbor billing system to a cloud-based system that will connect up with the QuickBooks system in the cloud. And that gives us the flexibility to have people log in and help us troubleshoot if there's issues. And yeah, provides much more secure backups than we've had in the past, which previously had to be done manually and now can be automated in the cloud. You can have somebody else responsible for those, and you can have duplication. So for disaster recovery, if you have a earthquake or a fire or something, all your data can be restored immediately. So all those are things that we haven't really contemplated the need to do in the past, or at least we didn't budget for them. But this issue being brought up by the auditors really prompted us to say, okay, it's time to get with the program and get into the technologies that are available to help us address some of these issues. The other thing that I think is really important is our customers. As we all know, the majority of our customers, and I mean the major majority of our customers, don't live in Whittier. And currently, in order to pay their bills, they have to either mail their checks in or walk into the office to pay. We don't have the capability of them paying their bills online. And that's really long overdue. So in order to be able to allow us to improve functionalities in all of those areas, we're investigating right now, and when I say we, I mostly mean the harbor staff, investigating what needs to happen to update those technologies. And in the process, we will eliminate the need for some of those disparate systems that are kind of standalone, and instead be able to have the capabilities of having some of those systems that are modules that get added into the harbor billing system. So I think it will really, help us move into the technological age that's really more convenient for our customers, but also improve safety and security of the harbor data, as well as the accuracy of the workflow itself. We really don't know entirely what it's going to cost. I don't think it's going to cost anywhere near this, but at the time that we were researching, there were various options that we're looking at. So what we don't want to do is start down a path and then find out that we underestimated, have to stop and wait another 6 weeks to get something on the agenda in the next council meeting, and then lose this window of being able to get this project done. We'd like to do it while we're doing the harbor replacement project, frankly, because we'll have less activity in the harbor as we're moving boats out to do the actual replacement of a third of the harbor. And it'll give us the opportunity to focus more staff time in the office on this effort. So we didn't have it budgeted. We weren't really aware that we had to do it timing wise now. And I think that it's hopefully going to come in a lot less than what we're estimating, but we would appreciate the flexibility of having the resources there so that we can be more nimble when the time comes to implement.
Okay, they're all great information and definitely needed, but it's still somewhere in there we didn't anticipate this, so that would say that, no, we didn't anticipate this when we ordered the meters. My first question.
Yeah,
Okay.
the meters is a totally separate thing. That was anticipated. That was previously budgeted. And the meters are already here. So, and installed, yeah. So that will be the technology to do the meter reading and the billing, that was all anticipated. That's separate from what I was just talking about.
Okay, and then that you're asking 125,000 from the repair and replacement fund, is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't print out my packet. The city manager tells me yes, that is where the appropriation.
Okay. And that's where my concern comes in, because I don't think there's one voter that believes that something in iCloud is repair and restoration is hard repair, maybe a building, but not office stuff. Is there enough money in the budget typically there's a rollover that's left in the checking account that I call it. Is there enough money in the checking account to cover that, rather than going down the slippery slope of starting to use that fund for things it was not intended for?
If the council prefers to take the money from the harbor, we have the money there instead. Thank you.
Sorry, we have 3 minutes.
She answered the question that I needed.
Any further discussion?
Okay, I would like to make an amendment to the resolution to not take that funding from the harbor. Let's see, What would that be called? What is the,
So currently, right
General.
now, it's being appropriated from the harbor reserves to the harbor contracted services account. And that is on page 23, line 46.
okay, and what would the checking account be called?
The general funds reserves account or the harbor account.
The harbor?
You can just put the harbor account, Councilmember Pencush, and we will administratively put what that number is.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to change the resolution to moving the 120, or to taking the money from the 125,000 from the harbor reserves to taking it from the harbor account. I didn't-
The harbor enterprise account, is that correct, board?
Yes, harbor enterprise
okay.
account.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Did you have a
Yeah.
discussion?
Okay. The reason I want to do this, council, is that fund has always been, it's a fund for repair and replacement. It is not. If we start doing this slippery slope, pretty soon we're going to be buying cars with it. And we're going to do this and do that. And I don't want to start down that path. That fund, the voters were told this fund was to fix the harbor, to actually fix the docks. That's what it's for. It's to replace the docks. It's not for office stuff. It might be for a building, but it's for physical stuff. And when, it's not, I just don't think that it's appropriate for that. I don't have the code or the resolution that we originally stated, but it did have restrictions in it, what's to be used for. And I think you'd find that it would specifically state that this is not a legitimate use for it.
Do we have any further discussion? Tom?
So I just have a question. Is there going to be any adverse effect? What he's saying makes sense. Is there going to be any adverse effect by doing this? No? Okay.
It will reduce the account, but the harbor has been rolling over a certain amount of money. They haven't been going to zero at the end of the year. So I don't know how much it is, but there is money in that account.
Okay,
Thank you.
hearing no further question. Oh, Victor?
I just want to be clear with this program. So the majority of this program is, or these expenditures would be going toward a program that is a billing program primarily, and it replaces an existing system.
Correct. So currently we're using Marina Office as our main source of everything we do in the harbor.
Mhm.
So Marina Office does all our boat inventory, daily, monthly. It does all our point of sale stuff through Pure Retail. And then we have QuickBooks. All of these items right now are all desktop dependent. So if you went in and you crushed a certain computer in our building right now, we lose everything. No backups, no nothing. If you go into another room and you crush a computer, we lose our desktop QuickBooks, which means no backups, no nothing. ACS doesn't service any of these programs. Okay. QuickBooks does not back these up because they can't access our network to do that. So that's one of the issues that we had during this recent audit was some of these programs, they have to constantly sync with each other, right? Well, they don't always sync. And then we don't have a direct contact to the internet down there. Everything's point to point to this building. So we don't even have a hard wire down there. So that causes problems with our PCI compliance, which causes our PCI compliance to go through the roof. So when we start tying all these things together, QuickBooks in the cloud, our Marina Office, which is Marina, what we use now it would go over to what we call a Marina Go program. And the Marina Go program has a point of sale system in it. All those things would communicate in the cloud and everything would be backed up in the cloud. We could access this information anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. All we need is the access to the internet. They're responsible for all the network security.
it's backed up. And right, yeah, Scott said explain PCI compliance. So PCI compliance is all your credit card security information. Everything's now going to touch, you know, and we're out of compliance right now with one of our payment companies, and they fine us. So this is a huge investment to fix all of that. I think one of the coolest things, once we get with this QuickBooks Online, we'll be able to do online transmission of our invoices to our customers. All we need is their email address. I know we've all here gotten an invoice from QuickBooks, right? And then you click the button to pay. They maintain all the security with the network, the PCI compliance with the credit card. We get paid. It goes into a separate bank account. We reconcile. Easy peasy, right? I mean, that's the way of the future. Right now, everything's so clunky. I think another point that's the other issue that we have is anytime we need to do upgrades right now with QuickBooks and or Marina Office, because they're desktop, we have to get permission from ACS, who has to give these specific people access to the servers so they can do these things. Well, one company's in Virginia, one company's in San Diego. These companies have to talk so QuickBooks can update Marina Office. It is just a mess. And a lot of times we wait 2 or 3 weeks for updates to these programs because we have to get everybody talking. And then we got to pay ACS $125 an hour for them to do the updates just to access. Once this stuff's in the cloud, these companies all talk together right now. QuickBooks, Marina Office, or Marina Go rather, which is the cloud-based, requires a QuickBooks infrastructure to operate. So they already work together. They already know all the ins and outs of each other's programs. It's going to make life a lot easier for us. And to your point with the, for full disclosure with the monitor for the digital readers, the only thing I got to do is buy a $130 laptop computer out of our operating funds. So it's a standalone system and it has a standalone internet so it can talk. So but still that all falls under the same appropriation that you guys voted on several years ago. We still fall into the budget for that. So long answer, but
no, thank you. I think
we've had these systems just patchwork together because we haven't had any consistent leadership down there, and we have constantly just been working with them. Well, we've got a new set of eyes in the office now, somebody that's like can grasp the technology, not saying we couldn't before, but understands it really well. And, you know, we've already shifted part of our program over to a test bed of QuickBooks Online. It's amazing. Super easy to understand. And I anticipate we should be able to go live by October.
I guess I agree in many aspects. Mr. Pinkish, like we have a major repair and replacement fund of critical, of infrastructure, and we live in an age where computer programs are part of our, essential infrastructure for our systems and our departments. I don't know, looking at this, and it does. To me, it walks a fine line between a replacing a component of something that allows us to operate, collect funds, and organize stuff. And Mr. Board brings up the point that we have a lot of valuable data that is not backed up, and if we were to lose it, I don't know what we would have to spend lots of time and resources recreating it, rebuilding it, maybe recovering it. And then I guess another side, the flip side is it a classified as a capital improvement, or is it a major repair and replacement? And do we have a mechanism for? I guess that exposes maybe a deficiency as I'm seeing is we have that major replacement and repair for our harbor, but what happens when we want to do capital improvements, upgrades? Does that fall under major repair and replacement, or does that fall under capital? Yeah, if you can answer that. Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Shen, through the mayor. So the reason that I believe it falls under, I mean, appropriately under the major repair and replacement fund is that it is capital in nature. And you can argue that even a computer these days, you know, how often do you have to replace a computer? But for the purposes of the definition of capital assets, something that is kind of this large in scale is considered a capital asset. And it's amortized over a period of 7 years with most of the computer equipment. So to me, it is appropriately capital repair and replacement. I also, I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion, honestly, of how council decides to pay for it. But I would argue that every single user of the harbor is impacted by the billing system. It touches every user every month. And it's not like an asset that maybe just has a select group of people that use it. Also, you know, this is the first year that we've actually had a dedicated revenue source that will pay for capital, which gives us the ability to pay for capital without sacrificing impacts to operations in the harbor. And so, you know, I think that was the logic behind putting it into the major repair and replacement fund, was, you know, that it really does meet the definition of a capital item, and it's going to need to be replaced, these computer systems every, you know, let's say 7 years. So.
Might have had one more question. How long have we had that current system in place?
Yeah, sounds like from 2011 or 2012. So that's a pretty good run.
I don't disagree that you could make it, that you could say that it's capital replacement. What I'm going by is when there were over 100 people in the school gym because of the budget, and all those voters agreed to an increase in the fee as long as it was used for the actual physical structure of the harbor. And that was many years ago, and I know we're not obligated to do that, but that's what that's based on, because this exact subject was discussed about that fund is going to start be getting milked for other things besides pilings and pilings and docks. And that's where I'm coming from with that. There were over 100. That's the most people we've ever had at a meeting, and they were all told exactly that we will not use that fund. And I'm trying to remember who it was that stated, but it was the city manager that made that statement to over 100 voters at that meeting.
We still get there.
Oh, I know. I support it. The voters will love it, but just not how it's being paid.
So on an aside, Dave, your bridge of internet from this building to your harbor is robust enough to handle cloud services?
Yes.
Thank you. So let's call for a vote for the amendment, right?
Mr. Pinkush, please correct me if I did not write this down close enough to what you had stated, but the motion I have is to amend Resolution 2025-026 by striking Harbor Reserves in line 46 and inserting Harbor Enterprise Fund.
Correct.
Thank you. Voting on the motion to amend. That is actually on line 50. So voting on the motion to amend Resolution 2025-026 to strike Harbor Reserves in line 50 and insert Harbor Enterprise Fund. Mr. Pinkush.
Yes.
Mr. McAlto.
Yes.
Mr. Shen.
No.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion fails 3-1. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Jamie. Miss Lone.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, so any further discussion on this resolution? Hearing none?
Voting on the motion to approve Resolution 2025-026, a resolution authorizing the reallocation and appropriation of funds in the amount of $250,210 within the FY 2025 operating budget for contracted services and minor capital improvements as amended. Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Ms. Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Pinkush,
Yes.
Mr. McCulto,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and Resolution 2025-026 is approved as amended.
Okay, moving down to new business. We have a request from administration to reschedule September regular meeting to September 23rd.
Mayor, as you and I've had a couple conversations in one of our weekly meetings, it was a request that we move the meeting from our regularly third Tuesday to the fourth Tuesday. And to give you guys enough information, I can't do the city clerk and be your city manager and do the other things. And unfortunately, at that month is very busy for staffers, and I would not have a clerk to run our meeting on that regular scheduled date. So I figured instead of bringing it forward to you in August, that we'd bring it to you even more in advance to see if it would be possible to reschedule it from the third Tuesday to the September 23rd date.
So I have a question. If you could refresh my memory, I think you had recruited a staff member to help Shelby take minutes for other, like planning and zoning, and is that progressing, or am I losing my time frame here?
You're losing your time frame, but we did discuss it. We just are not there yet. We have a brand new employee, and they would not be capable of at this time to do even this meeting.
So we do have in the works ways to try and keep us, because there's, life happens. So it would be nice to have a little bit of depth in there.
Well, my goal is to not only have that individual, but also have the assistant city manager be able to do it. But at this time, I mean, she's been on the job for 4 months, and we have her buried in grants and projects. And so we are trying to do that. This September came up on me a lot quicker. I sort of looked at my clerk and my fire chief and multiple others in the community in my departments and went, what? September is here? So that is why.
One last comment. We're moving a regularly scheduled meeting. It will still be called a regular meeting, but I believe that administration and the community should realize that if a council member can't make a moved meeting, that they should not be dinged for that, because we all have worked really hard to make a third Tuesday.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And this was just a suggestion. If the mayor and council still do not feel the need or want, I would just say that I would be running the meeting as your clerk and your city manager, and just know that all the bells and whistles will not be the bells and whistles that you normally get.
I took it off the consent agenda just so it's on the record. We had 2 community members come up and state that the most important thing for a council member to do is be present at the meetings. That's what they said. I disagree with that. I think there are more important things. I think listening to community, working on committees and other things, and in this world, everything's going virtual, but those people said that. So I went on the record. I scheduled a moose hunt specifically around that meeting, so I will not be there. And so people know. That's why I wanted it on the agenda, just to tell you that, I planned 6 months in advance to make the meetings, and we change it. It's not on me.
I do appreciate the effort, David. Okay, so Council, any further discussion on the reschedule of the meeting? We need a roll call vote. Okay, seeing no further discussion.
First, you need a motion.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Seeing no further discussion.
Voting on the motion to reschedule the September regular meeting to September 23rd, Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Ms. Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. Pinkush,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and the September regular meeting is rescheduled to September 23rd.
So the next item on the agenda, consideration of placing a proposition on the October 25th local election ballot to return to a 6-month sales tax period. I wish we'd have done this before we went to a 12-month sales tax. We're not required to by law, but Whittier has a very limited amount of employment opportunities 6 months out of the year. And so that's why we went with a 6-month sales tax. And so are there any discussion from council regarding this?
We discussed this somewhat previously, didn't we? And because I remember one thing about it was that if we did change it, that it would be after the ground fee goes into, we would do it after the ground fee goes into place. So I would say two things that I would still want to see that. And it would be interesting to see how much additional revenue we bring in from that too. Do we have a number? Do we have that yet? Approximately for that time. And then secondly, I think that I'm all support the people speaking up on it. I think it would be great. There's no additional cost if it's during another election.
So my intent was to make the ballot clearly, it's non-binding, so it would still be up to council. But anyway, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Pinkush, I think your question was if we know the additional revenues that it's brought in, and it's really too soon to tell just because of the seasonality and the fact that we do have folks that pay monthly and folks that pay quarterly. So for the quarterly filers, we did have more filing for the first quarter of the year that we would normally obviously wouldn't have anything. And so we did see a larger increase in those first 2 quarters because we don't normally get any sales tax revenue. And I would say the bulk of that came from harbor users. So to me, that's really who's, for the most part, going to be paying the lion's share of the increased sales tax would be the harbor users, the large majority of whom are not from Whittier. So to me, it's a benefit of getting external revenues into town. But I also understand council's desire to provide some relief to people in the winter. So I'm not arguing about this at all. I'm just asking that if there are specific groups of people that you really believe are paying more sales tax in the winter that you'd like to figure out how to potentially exempt, I'd sure like to hear those ideas, because there may be another way to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish without eliminating the change. So I'm just curious about that. Just one reminder, to me, the main reason we went to this, and at least my argument to council in favor of going to it, wasn't that it was a revenue generator. Wasn't, well, we could make more money if we have a year-round tax as opposed to a seasonal tax. It's really the complexity of people who are supposed to be filing seasonally, who have to change their computer systems, and they argue that that's just ridiculously onerous for a business. And while I don't know about that, I'm sure they're right. For some people, they have to change their computers back and forth. The complexity comes with our primary sales tax collectors are people that provide summer seasonal charters in Whittier. But they just changed their computers in the winter to not tax, but they're taking a phone call for somebody who's coming to Whittier in the summer that is taxable. So they can't even change their computers to match what we're doing in any way, shape, or form, because it's not a matter of a typical business that part of the year it's all the sales are taxable, part of the year they're not taxable. In this case, we have the bulk of our people that are selling things in the winter when they ordinarily would have the computer turned sales tax off. They're selling things that are taxable because they're selling things in advance for the summer. So I really do think that's the best argument that I heard was it's onerous for the businesses. But nonetheless, if you have, it sounded from our discussion the last time that there's a feeling that there's a group of people that are local people that are having to pay more in the winter than they were otherwise paying. And I don't know who that group is or why they would be having to pay more, because they don't pay on their rent and there are more grocery exemptions, and we have a large contingent of people who don't pay sales tax on groceries because they have SNAP benefits and so on. So if there is really a group of people that we're missing, I haven't heard it, but I'd sure be interested to hear about it. So
it's non-binding. There are some vocal people. I'd love to have them come out and express their opinion on the ballot. The concern you're talking about as far as making the changes might be the best way for us to change it. If council decided to change it, if the ground tax turned out to not have a problem, might be to phase it in June so that there would be no changes until September or something, which they shouldn't be selling a whole lot, or whenever our 6 months phase is, but they shouldn't be selling a lot in October. It'll be easier that way. But anyway, maybe we can have more conversations with that group. I know that we're going to have lots of public meetings coming up. Maybe we can get that information, but I would ask council to consider a non-binding measure to be placed on the October 2025 local election ballot. So this isn't really a resolution. I would like to make it non-binding. Do I need to ask for modification of the phrase, or what's?
Based on the research that I completed, it appears that in order for the council to place something on the ballot, it needs to be done by resolution or ordinance, not a simple motion. So even if it's just an advisory vote.
Yeah, I fully intend to have the resolution brought forward.
Okay.
But as you said, there was a little bit more than what I'm used to bringing forward on a resolution. I didn't know if we needed to register it with the state or.
It's my understanding that those requirements of the past, where those things would need to go to the Department of Justice for approval before placing on the ballot, is no longer a requirement.
Okay, I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't feel confident enough to bring it forward as a resolution. So Would that be something that would be reasonable for council to ask administration or the city attorney to put forward a resolution for August?
Yes, Mayor, my suggestion would be that you make a motion to direct administration to write that resolution to bring forward at your August meeting.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Voting on the motion to direct administration to write hang on one moment. Thank you for your patience. Voting on the motion to direct administration to write a resolution to place a non-binding advisory vote to return to a 6-month sales tax period on the October 2025 regular election. Mr. Pinkish,
Yes.
Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Ms. Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
No.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and administration is directed to write a resolution.
Okay, moving on. We have informational items and it takes us to council comments. Council members, do you have anything to comment? Okay, that brings us to citizen discussion.
We have Representative Kai Holland.
Hi, good evening, City Council. Kai Holland, representative for House District 9, including Whittier. I just am here tonight after actually being here all day, or most of the day yesterday. And first off, I just want to express my thanks to the city manager and the staff, and as well as the folks from Hunatoto and the railroad that were so gracious. We brought a group of about 20 folks down from Anchorage that wanted to learn about the railroad, wanted to learn about what was going on in Whittier, the work that you do here, particularly recognizing the important work done by the emergency response services you have with the police and fire. Just, we had a great day down here and appreciate the work, including Jamie was also helping get us around town. So I think we did a lot of good work helping educate people in the rest of the district that is part of this district back in Anchorage to what's going on, the opportunities, the work that you're doing. And we had a great time. I think we'll do it again next year. I appreciate that. The only other thing I wanted to mention tonight is, of course, we have a special session coming up on August 2nd that the governor has called to look at education issues as well as the Department of Agriculture. I expect the real magic of that session will be the vetoes that were made and some effort to overturn those vetoes. If you or anyone else who's listening to this has any comments, advice, questions for me, I would definitely be interested in hearing any of your input before that special session, as well as anything else I can do to assist with other issues. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them, but otherwise I'm available down the road, and certainly call me anytime or email if I can be of assistance to anybody. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Next on the list is Miss Kelly Bender.
Good evening. Just wanted to take this opportunity with my Whittier Chamber hat on to 4th of July was super, super successful. It was a really fun event. I wanted to thank Stephanie Carlson, who took a day off of work to run 4th of July. And I think it was just really wildly successful this year with all the stuff that was going on with the fire department, at the barbecue in the harbor. It was really a great time. So I think it was well received. And I did hear a couple of things about 4th of July and the fireworks, and that there's some discussion about moving them to the 4th of July. And I wanted to just give you a little bit of history of why we've been doing it on the 3rd of July. Not to say that we're not open to change, and Stephanie did put something out on What's What to kind of get the feel of the community, but there's lots of reasons why we've done it on the 3rd of July. One, we can get somebody to do the fireworks on the 3rd of July. The 4th of July, they're pretty booked, even with advance notice. The guy who's been doing it for us has been doing it for 25 years and loves coming to Whittier and loves doing this. And so it works out very well to kick off the holiday on the 4th of July, on the 3rd of July. The 4th of July is a very busy day. It's probably the busiest day of the year for most of the businesses in the harbor. And we work really, really hard. And by 5 o'clock, we're done. But in most cases, most people have already left town and they're heading home, especially if 4th of July falls on a weekday, which sometimes it does. 5 times in 5 years, it usually does. So most people are heading home by early afternoon. So we kind of make a party of it because people usually have the night off, bring in the holiday, and really it has been more of a locals thing, that it's really about the locals getting to come together, kind of the community, the celebration that happens down in the Triangle. It's really a fun way to kick it off. And it just is difficult for people who are working on 4th of July. By 5 o'clock, they're done. I have nothing left usually. So that's really the history. When we could get it, it was a kickoff. We are not the only community that does it on the 3rd of July. Many other communities do, like Eagle River, some other towns. You know, a lot of people that want a 4th of July on 4th of July fireworks, they're already in Seward or they're already at Anchorage at Mulcahy Park. So I just wanted to tell you there's some history, there's some reasons, and it's worked out really well for us. But we have put out a feeler amongst the community, and we'll kind of give check in with that poll, but we'll also discuss it at future chamber meetings. But I just really wanted to thank everybody. It was a really fun day, so thanks.
No one else has signed in.
Mayor, I'm not talking as a citizen, but I did forget to give you guys one bit of information on the update on the 911 addressing. I know that you guys had asked me at the last meeting. So I am meeting with the final phase of that project. And then once it is complete, we will send out address numbers to all of the residents and all the businesses. And we will be, our location will be found via U.S. Postal Service, Google, Apple, every way possible that you could think of trying to find, you would actually have a physical address, and we're going all the way out to Shotgun Cove. So I apologize for not giving that to you earlier.
Is this going to work with like Google database so that people will will stop saying that you don't live where you say you live?
Yes, it's going to go across all platforms, as well as the 911 capability is just the number one portion of what we wanted, but then it covers everything else.
That's great. It looks like we get to vote to go into executive session.
Would you like me to read the motion?
Yes, please.
The motion on the table is to enter into executive session to discuss the Alaska Railroad Corporation land purchase as per Whittier Municipal Code 2.08.040B1, matters that, if immediately disclosed, would tend to adversely affect the finances of the city.
So moved. Second.
Any
Okay,
discussion?
And seeing no further discussion,
Mayor, I would just like to add, if we can keep the Public Works Director, the Finance Director, and the Harbor Master and myself in the room, that would be great.
Yes, that's great.
Voting on the motion to enter into executive session, Mr. Pinkush,
Yes.
Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Ms. Lone,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
The motion passes and council enters into executive session at 8:37 PM.
5-minute break.
You're back.
Needs to be pulled out. Okay. We are voting to come out of executive session. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Voting to come out of executive session, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Hearing nothing and no discussion. McCalto,
Yes.
Pencush,
Yeah.
Lone,
Yes.
Shen,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes.
You are out of executive session at 8:59.
This takes us to the adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
So be it.
So moved.